Welcome back to another edition of Veterans Forum. My name is Rebecca Jennings. I am the Veterans Agent for the town of North Attleborough. Today we have two guests from the Massachusetts Financial Planning Association. Welcome.
Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you, Rebecca.
Our first guest is David Santora. Do you want to tell us a little bit? And then our second guest is Mary Breed. Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay. Well, I'm a financial consultant at MCB Financial Services, and I do pro bono financial planning for the Mass National Guard and the Financial Planners Association of Mass. My office is located at 80 North Main Street in Mansfield, Mass, and if people want to reach me, I can be reached at 508-851-3644. And securities and advisory services are offered through Commonwealth Financial Network, member FINRA SPIC as a registered investment advisor. I apologize, I had to say that for my compliance department.
Absolutely.
Basically, a little bit about me. I am a volunteer, and I do this because I spent 23 years in the reserves. I retired.
Army Reserve,
Army
right?
Reserve, yes. I retired as a major back in 2008. And
what was your MOS again?
I was an intelligence officer. So that was my whole career, except for I enlisted initially, and then I went to officer school and served most of my time as an intelligence officer doing analysis. My primary was signals analysis, signals analyst, but during my years, my full-time job, I was in the financial services industry. And I saw firsthand, basically, how the guys in my unit always seemed to have a lot of them had financial issues. A lot of them would talk about that, because that's the kind of stuff you talk about on your weekends as you're out in the woods, and, the guys would talk about that. And some of them knew I worked in the financial services industry, so they were asking me for, advice and help. And some of them, I would sit down with, and, I'd just help them with their budgets and stuff like that. And I saw firsthand what the need was for, these guys. And, I did it out of the, because it was fun. I mean, I enjoyed doing this stuff. And I grew up in a family where, my father paid cash for everything, and, he budgeted like crazy. So I watched
I think a lot of our members within the community are very similar to that.
Yeah. So at some point in my career, I decided to make a change, because I was wasn't a certified financial planner at the time. So I left my employer and I got my certified financial planner certification. And then shortly after that, I found out about this group through the Mass Financial Planners Association that was doing pro bono work to help the folks in military. And at that time, there were a lot of guys that were deploying, that were being shipped out to Afghanistan and Iraq. Okay. And I actually spent a year and a half down at Fort Dix helping train those guys to ship out. I was put on active duty for a year and a half down there. So I decided that these guys needed whatever help we could give them, because they weren't getting these kind of services. They didn't come as part of your deployment.
No, it absolutely did not.
No, I mean, they make you do your wills, they make you do your, all your financial your power of attorney and all that stuff, and your healthcare proxies, but they don't make you put a budget together or anything like that.
And sometimes for these soldiers that are shipping over, they have special pay, and
they do.
Or the soldier was the one that was actually taking care of the finances, and oftentimes you have the spouse or the girlfriend or the mom and dad at home taking care of the finances, and this type of education that you provide to those folks are really essential.
Well, and they don't necessarily have anybody to turn to either. So if the person who's been doing the finances is overseas, who do they talk to? Because as a reservist, I experienced it myself. There's not a support network there, like there is on an active military post. So who do you talk to? Who do you when you need services, that sort of thing. So the FPA, I think, provides a great service. So that's basically why we do what we do. And,
and thank you for that, definitely.
It's the right thing to do. So,
Mary Beth, thank you for coming on.
My pleasure.
Now you are a financial advisor for Boston Hills advisors. Can you give us a little bit more information?
Sure. I'm a certified financial planner like David and a financial advisor. My day job is as a financial advisor at Boston Hill Advisors in North Andover, Massachusetts. And I serve on the board of the Massachusetts Financial Planning Association. So I'm charged with our community outreach and pro bono programs. That includes our relationship with the Massachusetts National Guard, the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute, Lawrence Community Works, and the Midas Collaborative. So we have 1,000 members.
Oh, wow.
In the state, and all of the pro bono work is done on a volunteer basis by our fellow members. Excuse me.
Wow. Now, what, your background, what got you into wanting to be involved with really giving back to our military population?
So the two flagship programs that we support are the National Guard program and the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute program. And I started as a volunteer financial planner coach with the Dana-Farber organization. My family, like a lot of families in the state, are afflicted by cancer issues. I lost both of my parents to cancer. And I know firsthand the financial strains that any major medical diagnosis can afflict on a family. So I was the healthcare proxy for my mom and her power of attorney, and had to manage her estate. So I had firsthand knowledge and professional training relative to the issues that families
face. And
deal with.
A lot of our veterans and widows and family members are facing exactly what you are facing right now.
Exactly, exactly. So for all of the communities that we serve, there are themes that run through the issues, the financial issues that affect the communities that are in crisis, if you will. So with the National Guard, it's deployment and the folks who are left at home to manage the personal finances. With our Dana-Farber patients, often the spouse or child becomes a full-time caregiver, and then some of the financial issues fall through the wayside. We know that personal bankruptcy due to medical bills is the number one cause of personal bankruptcy in the United States. And that is an issue that could afflict both our National Guard population and our Dana-Farber population.
Yeah. Now, I don't know if you hit on it. You hit on it briefly about the Financial Planning Association and their mission.
Right. So we are a nonprofit membership organization, and our mission is to raise awareness and advocate for the awareness and advancement of the financial planning profession in the state of Massachusetts. We have 1,000 members across the state,
right,
and we have one of the most active and robust pro bono communities across the nation. There are 90 other chapters.
I would agree with you.
In the United States, but Massachusetts is really the standard bearer and the model that a lot of other chapters around the country turn to for guidance as they try to build out their pro bono organizations and programs. And again, National Guard is one in particular that I have other nonprofit board members across the country contacting us on a regular basis.
And asking how do you make this so successful?
Exactly, exactly. So it's something we're very proud of at the board, and we're very proud throughout our organization to have such a robust and active membership in the state of Massachusetts.
Agreed. Now, David, what are some at no cost or low cost financial services that are available to veterans and their families?
Well, we offer basically if you contact the Mass Financial Planners Association, what they'll do is they can actually put you in touch directly. So I know we're in North Attleborough, but the whole state, we have people all over the state that do this. So they can get you a one-on-one appointment with a financial planner that's part of the program. And those pro bono financial planning services include things like budgeting, helping you set some financial goals, looking at any benefits you may have through your current employer, or maybe putting you in touch with the veterans agent to see what veterans benefits are out there too. Analyzing your whatever financial pieces that you have to your puzzle. We also have some free tax preparation during tax season.
Yes.
We used to have it in a lot of locations. I think we're down to just Hanscom now. I think that's where the primary, there might be some, is there any Otis left?
No.
No, okay, we don't have Otis anymore. So we have that. We have a booklet that was put together by the Foundation for Financial Planning called Accomplishing Your Military Mission, or Financial Mission, excuse me. And it has things like budget worksheets and all kinds of documents in it that people can actually, just fill out.
We would love to put that link on the Town of North Attleborough Veteran Service.
Yep.
The part, if
And
you
I
would be
actually
able
have
to-
a number of the booklets, so I can, bring some down for your office, and you can have them there.
If some of our
So,
members wanted to, our community wanted to come down, and they're welcome to have some.
It's a great resource, and we hand it out at pretty much all the events that we do, because we do financial readiness briefs. We've done some for military folks retiring. We've been at some of those briefs to let them know the services we provide. When there were a lot more troops deploying and coming back over the last few years, we were at a lot of those events letting the guys know, or the women know, what services or things that they could do while they were deployed, some of the extra benefits that they were going to have and stuff like that. We also were very involved with Home for Our Troops. Are you familiar with the Home for Our Troops organization?
They're a great organization.
Yep, they build the houses for veterans all over the country, and they have their
They're in
primary.
Taunton.
They're based in Taunton, and they have their primary meetings in Foxborough. I was actually up in Foxborough last week, because one of the requirements for folks getting a home is that they work with a financial planner for 18 months. So 12 months prior to getting the home and 6 months afterwards. And I'm actually working with somebody who's getting a house in Freetown right now. So he comes in.
And those are severely disabled veterans.
They have to be amputees, so
Right.
at least one amputation. Some have more. And these houses are all handicapped, accessible, ready. They get them free of charge. It's all donations, there's a number of different contractors that donate their time. There's a number of different organizations that donate money also. But yes, they're all over the country. I want to say they had 4 soldiers at the briefing that I gave on the financial side. One was from Texas, 2 were from Florida, and I think the other was in Alabama. That were getting homes, that were going to be in the program getting homes. And there's a number of there's an event going on in, I think it's September, Operation Moneywise.
Operation Moneywise.
That's gonna
I'm
be
very
up.
familiar with that.
Yep, they're going to be doing that
At
up in the
Worcester
Western.
State College.
Yep, so they'll be going. So those are just some of the things that we offer.
And we'll have that flyer posted on in the office if anyone's interested in attending with that. It's a great thing that you guys put on every year.
Yep.
And if I could just expand on that, at the Operation Moneywise events, we have a keynote speaker, and then we have breakout sessions with smaller groups with specific topics on retirement planning and benefits planning. And then we also have some of our volunteer planners available for one-on-one consultations.
And this is all at no cost.
Yes.
Exactly. It's all pro bono, no cost to anyone who attends. We had one last fall, and folks attended from all 4 branches of the military. So it's a very well-attended event and very well received.
And you have service providers that attend and kind of encompass like different elements of the finances that they offer, right?
Right. So we have credit counseling experts.
Yes.
And all of our CFP volunteers are versed in all components of a family's financial roadmap, be it basic budgeting, planning for college for their children, helping people navigate their benefits package with their employer, be it the military or a spouse may be in the private sector. And then we also have family assistance coordinators around the state who interface with
Those are through the National Guard.
yes,
Right.
through
Yes,
our
through the
National
units,
Guard
yeah.
program. So there are a lot of resources available to military families throughout the state of Massachusetts through the Financial Planning Association that take place on an ongoing basis, on a monthly basis, a quarterly basis. We have events, but we also have one-on-one financial planning available to members of the National Guard at any given time.
Yes. And if folks are interested in the Family Assistance Center locations, we do have that available on the North Attleborough website underneath Veteran Services. So thank you for that information, especially Operation Moneywise. I'm a huge fan
great.
of what you guys do with that. Now, can you give us a little bit more insight? What are some risk factors that could cause someone to start having some financial issues?
So that's a great question, Rebecca, and it's something that we talk about a lot in our organization. One of the main charges of the Financial Planning Association of Massachusetts is to promote financial literacy across the state. So we think strong financial skills start very young as children. And currently, though, unless our parents taught us these strong skills, we don't necessarily transition into adulthood with these skills at the ready to handle what happens in our adult lives as it relates to our finances. So while our military families and cancer families are certainly in many cases in a crisis situation, for all citizens of the state and all personal family finances, it really boils down to a budget. You know, people often think of financial services and maybe the stocks and bonds and that component of it.
Right.
But the nuts and bolts of it is really the financial plan, the budgeting component of the financial plan, making sure your income supports your monthly expenses. For military families, certainly insurance is a major factor. We want to make sure that the family is well insured, both on the medical side and other different forms of life insurance, long-term care potentially, or life insurance. We want to make sure that they are thinking about college planning if they have children, what their benefits may look like for retirement planning.
Right.
So it really is a comprehensive offering that we have for these constituents that we support. But again, it really, these skills and factors relate to all of us in our daily lives.
Agreed. And some of the things that you talked about for financial issues, the veteran agent can certainly assist with some financial issues, and we do a lot of referrals over to agencies such as yourself, especially when they're nonprofit and they're pro bono.
Right, and for folks like David, who is both a financial advisor and in the military, he's an invaluable resource to our...
Agreed. He could speak the lingo.
Exactly.
Yep.
He walks the walk and talks the talk. And so we have several of our military volunteers who are retired service people who are very adept at navigating all of the benefits available to veterans and families and current active members of the armed forces.
That's awesome. So how will you be able to use these services to become more financially secure?
So, well, one thing that we offer, again, for the military families, we'll list the website and they can go on and get a one-on-one consultation with one of our financial planners or attend one of these events. But there are other tools available. David referenced one, the brochure that the Foundation for Financial Planning has created with basic budget worksheets. There are a lot of technology tools available for folks out there. There's some people may be familiar with Quicken to help manage your budget. There's Mint.com where you can use...
And I just learned about Mint.com.
You can use your smartphone as a point of sale register if you're buying coffee, and you wave it in front of the machine at Dunkin' Donuts or Starbucks, and it will help you track your monthly budget. We know from our budgeting work that oftentimes people don't exactly know where their discretionary funds disappear to every month, and
They start to add up.
Right, we're all guilty of that.
Yep.
I don't spend much money, and then you really have a tracking of your spending, and it can be very eye-opening and also incredibly liberating for families. It empowers people to know where those funds are going on a daily basis.
You know, oftentimes they're just wary of like discussing the finances, and it can be definitely a challenge for some families.
And I think David will echo this, that, you know, in our line of work and our day jobs, talking to folks, finances are very personal.
They are.
And
Yes, they
people
are.
come to the conversation with a lot of family history or baggage, and there are a lot of, you know, uncomfortable issues that people bring to the table when they talk about their finances. So I would say our Certified Financial Planner core is trained on that aspect as well, the interpersonal component of putting people at ease and letting us help them achieve their financial goals.
I know that depending on the generation, some folks, they find it very difficult, or you know, maybe the spouse was the one that took care of all the finances, and they had since passed away, and the widow or widower is now in charge of the finances. So it's a big shock
Exactly.
for many of those many of those family members, or you know, a daughter or a son that is now in charge of their mom and dad's
Exactly.
finances. It can definitely, I mean, having someone like yourself, or you know, any of the volunteers that come and do it, be able to acknowledge and validate the concerns, and
Right.
is great. You know.
Right. I'm a big fan of a family meeting. And and you know, to your point, sometimes there are generational aspects to it, but I would say in my experience in most families now, it's, you know, everyone's so busy, there's sort of a divide and conquer
Agreed.
component to all the tasks in a household. So, you know, for couples, one tends to take on the family finances. So there is a risk factor there. If everyone isn't on the same page and aware of the finances.
But I find as long as you communicate that, I mean, even if one person is managing it, as long as the communication is there, you know, with the other person, of telling them what's going on and what's happening and that sort of thing, it's good. And that's what you kind of need to let your clients know, is that, you know, they need to communicate about it. Even if one person's managing it, the other person needs to know where everything is and how everything's going and what's happening.
The username and passwords,
Yep,
the
exactly.
account numbers.
Yep.
Any tricks on like getting that communication going?
I don't know if there's tricks, but definitely, I mean, there's a lot of emotion around it, and as you were,
There
you know,
is.
saying, there definitely is, and trying to take that out of it and make it maybe a bit more black and white than emotional is probably the only trick to it. It's very factual. So.
And it makes it a little bit easier for people to be able to communicate. The
Yep.
numbers don't lie.
No, numbers are what they are. So.
They are what they are. And I'm certainly guilty of the swiping of the card for Dunkin' Donuts. And then you look at how many Dunkin' Donuts cup of coffee you just have
Well,
for the
and, you know,
week.
there's a practical challenge for all of us now, because we all use plastic, be it the debit card or the
Yes.
credit
Yep.
card for bonus points or whatnot. And so, you know, we'll have clients and our nonprofit clients fill in a budget worksheet, and they know, you know, maybe the mortgage or the rent number, the car payment, and then everything else becomes miscellaneous because it's all bundled on those monthly statements.
Of course.
Yep.
So it can really be a time-consuming project to decipher that and really understand where those extra funds are going every month. And I think it is very empowering for families to really feel like they're driving the bus
Yep.
as it relates to their finances for the short term and for longer term goal setting.
Yeah.
for retirement and college planning and everything in between.
There's a lot of everything in between.
There is.
So the next question I have is regarding resources that are available to folks. I know there's
There's a lot of free resources
oh my goodness,
out there.
there's a ton of information.
I mean, we have one actual local credit counseling service for people that maybe are in debt. Right down in Plainville, right on 152, there's American Credit Counseling Services.
Yes.
And they're a United Way agency, so people can take care of if they've got a debt situation. I referred a number of clients. We've also got the American Consumer Credit Counseling. They're up in Auburndale, and they work a lot with us in the pro bono unit.
Is that for folks that are having difficulties with their
It's for people
credit?
that are having credit or debt issues where they're just buried and they don't quite maybe know how to get out of it. And these are the folks that they can talk to. And like I said, they're nonprofit agencies, so you get a lot of these ads on TV.
Yes, you do.
Get out of debt and stuff like that. And those folks,
especially our veterans and their families,
Yeah.
they fall.
and a lot of those agencies aren't looking out for the veterans, they're looking out for making money, really. And the two agencies that I've mentioned are both nonprofits, and they're out there to get the person in a better place, without it basically costing them much, or if anything at all,
Right.
because they are nonprofits. And then, we've also, you've got if you're military, you've got your thrift savings plan, you've got the Military One Source. Both of those websites are really good, or the DFAS website, which is, where you've got your defense, the finance, basically. There's also some free websites out there for people that aren't sure what their credit scores are. You've got Credit Karma, which is a free website.
And you can get that once a year, right? Or
Credit Karma is actually a site you can go on a regular basis.
On a
You
regular
log in,
basis, okay.
you set up an account, it's free, and they give you an estimated, it's not an exact credit score, but it's an estimated credit score of what your credit score would be.
is that based on one of the three agencies, or
I'm
is
not
it
sure
all
if they
three?
base it on one or if on multiples. But it's, like I said, it's an approximation of your credit score. And it also has a simulator out there, which is what I kind of point a lot of my clients to. Because if they're trying to figure out, well, gee, should I eliminate some credit cards, or should I pay this card off, or things like that, you can actually go out and use their simulator, and it will give you an idea of what it will do to your credit score. Because some people think getting rid of credit cards sometimes is a good thing.
I know,
And
not
sometimes
necessarily.
paying them off is usually a good thing, but sometimes eliminating a credit card that you maybe have a very long history on can actually hurt your credit score
Yes.
and not help it, and people don't always realize that. So having a free resource out there that you can actually go out and try to play around with a little bit before you make those decisions is good. Annualcreditreport.com is the site you were referring to.
Yes.
And that is where you can get a free credit report from all three agencies. Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax are the three
Yeah, thank you.
agencies. And what I recommend people is, once they log on, remember their username and password, and every 3 or 4 months go out and get one of the different reports. That way you're checking your credit on a regular basis instead of just doing it once a year, because you can see what's on your credit report. So if there's any erroneous things on there, you can talk to the agency and get rid of them. We were financing a house at one point, and I found that they had not eliminated one mortgage that we had refinanced years ago. It was still out there, so
Oh my
we had to
goodness.
write, and that can really mess you up. And even if you're following all the rules, that can mess you up. And
What's
then
your website?
There you go.
Tell the folks about your website.
www.fpama.org. And there are a lot of tools, as David referenced, for consumers and anyone who lives in the state of Massachusetts. We have a Find a Planner tool for folks who are looking for a financial advisor who are not involved in one of our pro bono events or pro bono programs. And there's also information on our various pro bono programs. So I encourage everyone
You
to...
guys provided a lot of great information today. Thank you so much. Thank you
Thank you,
for coming
Rebecca.
on to the show.
Thank you for having us.
And educating our members within our community about all the great things that you guys are doing out there. So
Thank you.
I want to thank you for joining us today for Veterans Forum. Stay tuned. Next month we'll have another organization that we will feature for the month. Thank you.